Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's lovely to join you this evening from here in Appi in Japan for this evening's second webinar in the parent communication theme this evening in English and Chinese. So Harrow Appi parents, it's very good to see you this evening.
各位家长，大家晚上好，然后欢迎大家来参与到我们今天的第二次的这个网络研讨会议。
We're thrilled to have so many attending this evening. Parents, it really does our heart good to know how strongly supportive you are of your children's education with us here in Appi. Harrow Appi. Thank you very much for your attendance.
那我们非常感谢今天各位家长的参与，也知道大家呢，对于学校的话是有很多的这样的一个期待的。
So it's been another groundbreaking week here in Harrow Appi. We've had many firsts yet again. So, for example, at Whole School Assembly on Wednesday morning, only the fourth assembly, we had our first orchestral performance. The string orchestra gave an excellent rendition of the Scottish song, The Bonnie, Bonnie Banks of Loch Lomond.
那大家都知道哈罗它是有很多的这个集会的，然后呢，就在这个星期三，我们的学生们。然后呢，给到了一个非常有名的这个苏格兰的一个歌曲的演唱。
Last weekend, after many weeks of preparation, our very first Harrovian expeditioners set off from the Appi campus, Lion's House, one of our girls' houses, overnighted on Saturday night of last weekend. It's Ogata House turn this weekend.
就在上周末我们的里昂院舍的我们的女生们，然后一起在外面度过了一个很有趣的这个露营。那这一周的话呢，就轮到了我们的 Ogata House 的学生们了。
And very importantly, and more seriously, I'm very pleased, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to confirm to you that we have had no further cases of COVID-19. All students, all parents, all members of staff, all members of the faculty out of isolation. No new cases now for almost 2 weeks. So I'm very pleased to be able to say that clearly we've gone through that very difficult time and our Harrow Appi bubble has formed now. We are safe.
那我要非常开心的去向大家分享。那目前为止整个学校我们已经没有新的这个新冠疫情的感染病例了。然后所有的学生、所有的教职员工都已经从这个隔离当中就是已经不需要隔离了，然后已经回归了正常的这个学习和工作的生活。然后呢，那我们的所有的这个工作已经都进入到正轨，然后我们整个学校现在也是一个完全的一个安全的一个环境了。
So, Harrow Appi parents, we commenced this series of 3 weeks of webinars. We found that we'd had a really productive and very successful launch of the school with your children, with our students, who have very quickly adapted to life at Harrow Appi.
那我们过去的这3周多的一个时间，我发现我们的学生对于融入哈罗的这样的一个全寄宿生活，他们的适应能力是非常强的很多学生也很快的就融入到了这种全寄宿制的学习模式。
However, we were finding that communicating with you, our very important communication with our parents, was proving to be quite challenging. Lots of questions that needed answering. So we decided to commence hosting this series of webinars. And as a result of last week's 2 webinars, English Japanese, English Chinese, can you believe it? In all, we had 118 questions to answer in certain themes, questions about devices, questions about food, but 118 questions to answer. So thank you for your patience. We've translated them all, we've answered them all. They're all up on the parent portal now.
那我们也意识到啊，跟家长的沟通是非常的重要的。然后我们也在寻找很多的这种更高效的与家长联系的这样的一个方式。那我们为此啊，也举办了这个每个周4和周5的线上研讨会。那么就在上周，我们举办了2次的这样的中英文和中日文的研讨会，然后我们收到了118个问题。那目前啊，这些问题都已经被翻译成日文和中文，然后已经都上传到这个家长门户网站了。也感谢大家的耐心。
However, we'll continue this good work this evening. We have further updates to give from the school, but what we will do is also continue the work to answer your questions. So please, as we go through the webinar, feel free to use the question and answer function to push through to us any questions you have at this point with regards to your child and her or his education at Harrow Appi.
我们将持续这一工作。那么在未来呀，还会有再一次举办这个每个周4和周5的研讨会。那并且呢，您可以持续留言您的问题。那我们现在啊，就是我们的研讨会刚开始，您就可以使用这个问答的这个功能，然后向我们去留言您的问题。
However, before we go into the short presentations, and then the Q&A session, which we want to give lots of time for, let's just have a little bit of fun, again, taking us back to last weekend and Lion's short expedition, their short X. The students had such a good time that 2 of our girls, immediately on getting back to school, spent the rest of their Sunday afternoon making a short film, which we want to share with you now.
那么在正式进入到我们本次研讨会的分享以及问答环节之前呢，我们也想播一个视频，让大家都放松一下。那这个视频啊，就是上周里昂院舍的女生们然后他们自己的同学拍摄的去短途探索的露营的这样的一个视频。
So this is Cascade and Iroha's film. Judy, it's playing but somewhat jerky and no volume. Judy, if you can hear me, still no volume.
OK， 好，那这个视频的话，就是我们里昂学院的来自一位香港的同学，然后他叫 Cascade， 然后他来拍摄和剪辑的这样的视频。OK。好的。那我们现在就到了那个学术的部分，让我们的副校长 Fraser 老师，然后为大家来介绍一下这一部分。
Okay, well, thank you very much, Judy, and hello everybody, and good evening. It's fantastic to be with you tonight, and just to echo the headmaster's words, it was fantastic to receive so many questions last week and to be able to work through all of those. I mean, in general, the level of engagement that we enjoy with our parents is just first class. So we're very privileged in that sense.
那我们的副校长也是说他非常非常开心，然后在第一次的研讨会结束，收到这么多的家长的问题，然后呢，这些问题有关于学术的呀，有关于电子产品的，有关于寄宿院舍的呀，那我们都会去非常详细的去为家长们去做解答。
When I reviewed the academic questions, the really important theme that seemed to unite them was the question of how well is the school settling? You know, to what extent is it coming together to function as a high-performing school?
那我在看这些关于学术问题的时候呢，我也总结到了，就是家长们非常的关心，那对于我们学校所提供的这个学术是怎么样去进行落实的，然后以及这个学术它的一个就是它的一个标准在哪里。
Obviously, for a new school, you know, this is an ongoing process, but speaking as a teacher, speaking as a member of the SLT, you know, we are reaching a really pleasing place. And I think this last week has been quite an important step on that journey.
那对于一所就刚刚开设的学校，那我们每天都在非常的这个积极的去调整我们的一个学术步伐，然后这也会与我们学校的中层以及高层管理的一些老师们，然后去一起去探讨，然后为学生去提供最好的一个课程。
One particularly pleasing event we had this week that I know a lot of you attended was our Meet the Beaks event on Wednesday night. We brought together 24 Beaks, so our teachers, together with over 100 parents. And it's our first time to bring so many of our extended community together like that. And it was wonderful to see us represent ourselves as such a diverse, capable and exciting school.
家长非常想要去了解，那学校都有哪一些老师去提供课程？那么也就是在这一周，我们举办了我们的在线的与教师见面的这样的一个活动。然后这个活动呢，我们邀请了24位左右的我们的老师，然后在活动上面进行去分享，然后有超过100位家长参加。那这也是我们第一次举办这样类型的活动，然后也看到了我们的哈罗的这样的一个大家庭，家长们都非常的踊跃。
Another highlight for me was on Tuesday morning. So I ring-fenced the time and said no to all my meetings so that I could spend the entire morning following a single year 7 class around school, going from class to class with them, experiencing a Harrow School day in the way that the pupils do. This is part of our quality assurance process.
那么我呢会把星期二所有的会议都推掉，然后在星期二的时候我会 我会去查看每一个班级，然后他们的一个课程展现情况，以及孩子的在课堂上面的他的一个表现情况。那这个也是作为我们的学术的一个检验，然后也是作为家长们的一道保险。
I attended a double English class. I attended a music class, a history class, a maths class. So I really got to see different aspects of the school at work. And what was wonderful was to see that kind of high quality Harrow learning and teaching experience that we expect embedding itself and really showing itself in teachers enjoying their teaching and students enjoying their learning. It was really very, very pleasing indeed.
那在我的这个每个星期二的这种例行检查工作当中啊，我参加了像英语课，然后历史课、音乐课，然后呢，我也看到了我们的老师正在教辅哈罗标准的这样的学术课程，然后以及我们的学生在课堂当中的这个表现也非常的好，也很融入，然后我们的老师也很享受这样的一个教学的过程。
And meanwhile, the work continues. We continue to push our routines, to get our academic routines, to ensure that our pupils are making most of all the academic opportunities that Harrow has to offer. We continue to make good progress in important areas like prep. We're pushing our Year 9 clinics, encouraging pupils to take part in that. Our first report cycle is now underway, where teachers will be gathering their data and feedback on pupils, forwarding that to academic tutors, who will then be writing out to you, the parents, just before October half term.
那我们就是在学习习惯方面，第一个呢，就是在学生他的一个在是否全面的去了解到我们哈罗所为他提供到的一个学术的机会。那第二个的话呢，就是我们在布置作业方面，然后我们是否就是把这个作业以一种很高效的方式去提供给学生。然后第三个的话呢，就是学生他的学术助教会在我们的这个期中的时候为你们去提供学生这几个月以来的一个学习的一个报告单。
So yes, so it's really, I think it's quite a nice, rewarding stage that we have reached on our journey. This is the end of week 4, so we're halfway through the first half of the first term, and it's really, I think, for all of us on the SLT, for all the teachers, it's very rewarding to seeing things coming together in the way that we want.
那么现在就是我们的这个上半个学期已经过去一半的时间了。那我们的我们的学校的中层管理团队以及我们的所有的这个教职员工都非常期待看到那我们在1个月之后的这样的一个交付的成果怎么样。
I could talk some more, because there's a lot going on, but I'm conscious that we want lots of time for your questions tonight. That's an important part of this evening. So I will stop there, and I will hand over to Mrs. Bartram, who is going to tell us about the pastoral side of school.
我们的副校长的简单的分享就到这里结束了，然后我们下一个是尼古拉老师，然后呢我们的各位家长可以把你关于学术课程更多的问题，然后在我们的问答环节去进行留言，然后我们会非常的详细的去为您做解答。Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I want to take this opportunity to talk about 3 things that we at Harrow Appi feel are very important for our student and your children's welfare.
那我们的尼古拉老师今天就是想要为大家去分享3个比较重要的在寄宿的过程当中家长们也比较关心的3个问题。
So the first one is the importance of sleep for our students. Sleep helps teenagers to improve their concentration and their productivity. And if teenagers get enough sleep, their brains will work faster and more effectively, and it will allow them to focus more easily on things that are important.
那睡眠啊，对于在成长中的青少年其实是非常重要的。那充足的睡眠啊，可以让他们的头脑啊有一个在充足的休息之后呢，有一个很快速的一个运转，并且更加的专注，更具有创造性。然后呢，也会让他们对于他们所关注的事物啊，更有这样的一个专注力。
Sleep can help a teenager have a better performance, which means they will have better memory and better problem-solving skills while they're actually in the day school.
然后呢，充足的睡眠啊，也让我们的学生有一个更好的解决问题的能力，然后以及有一个更好的这样的一个发展。
And another major reason why sleep is important for teenagers is that it improves their immune system, and a lack of sleep can affect their ability to recover from simple health conditions, so they'll be overall weaker. So a lack of sleep can affect a teen's recovery time if they do get sick.
充足的睡眠啊，其实也会影响着孩子们的免疫力那当然就是如果这个孩子他的睡眠是不足的，那他其实免疫力很容易就会下降的，然后对于一些病毒的抵抗力也没那么强。
And research actually says from the World Health Organization that students that are prep age should be getting between 9 hours and 12 hours sleep, and that our students who are shell and remove age should be getting somewhere between 8.5 hours and 10 hours sleep per night.
世界卫生组织啊，其实是有研究表明，在我们的这个初中部的学生哈，也就是7、8年级，至少是需要10个小时到12个小时以上的充分的休息时间的。然后对于高年级啊，我们的高中部的学生啊，也是建议至少8.5小时或者到10小时这样左右的一个睡眠。
And this is why we're confident that our bedtimes are appropriate for the age. Our students have very full days. They're getting up at 6:30, sometimes earlier, to do activities in the morning and just to get ready for the day ahead. So we have those 9 o'clock and 9:30 bedtimes for a reason.
那我们对于我们设置的睡眠时间其实是很有信心的，因为白天啊，学生的早上起床的时间也很早，而且一整个白天他的时间表排的都很满，然后在下午的时候也会有比较强的这样的一个户外运动，所以我们设置的低年级9点睡觉，然后高年级9点半睡觉，对于学生来讲是非常合适的。
And this leads on to the second important thing. Our students have a lot of time during the day to do work. We've got prep time in the evenings. We've got structured time, obviously, during the day school. So the second one is the importance of breaks for our students.
那我第二个想要去强调的呢，就是因为我们的学生啊，在白天他的这个精神是高度紧张的，因为他的时间表都排得很满，所以对于我们的学生来讲，有适当的休息也是非常重要的。
So when we take breaks, our minds don't switch off. They're hard at work processing memories and helping us make sense of what we've experienced that day.
那我们其实休息的，我们就是想要学生啊，可以充分的去进行休息，然后呢，我们怎么样去这个去把我们的白天去过好。
And research has shown that rest is crucial for consolidating memories, reflecting on the day, and planning for the future. Breaks keep our brains healthy and play a key role in our cognitive abilities, such as reading comprehension and creativity. So breaks are essential for our learning.
那充分的休息啊，其实可以让你的大脑也得到一定的这个呼吸的空间，然后呢，它可以促进你的创造力，然后同时的话呢，也让你对于第二天的这样的一个计划有很清楚的思维所以我们的这个休息也是很重要的。
And students also benefit from using those unstructured and structured breaks to reduce stress. And stress prevents effective learning. It also increases the chances of serious conditions such as heart disease and depression.
那适当的休息啊，也可以缓解学生们的一个压力，然后呢，它可以让学生在一个很舒适的情况下去提高他的一个学习效率，然后也会降低一些因为压力而导致的一些青少年的疾病。
This is why our breaks during the school day, on the evenings, and also the upcoming October half-term break are very important to our school.
那这个也是我们设置的这个休息时间，在晚上的这个作业之后的时间，然后以及我们的学期中的这个在即将10月份开始的学期中的休息，对于学校来讲也是很重要的一个让学生们可以放松的时间。
And the final importance is the importance of routines and boundaries to our students.
那么第3个啊，就是在全寄宿学校上学，规则和界限的一个重要性。
Routines and boundaries allow our students to feel safe and secure. The limits and the rules create predictability and consistency for children, which actually reduces anxiety.
那这个规则和界限可以让孩子们感觉在学校是安全的，然后同时的话呢，也可以减少他们的一个焦虑因为大家都按照这个规则来所以就不会产生更多的这个矛盾。
Having too much power is actually quite scary and anxiety provoking in children. Rules also show students they are treated fairly, which is why our rules apply to all students for them to follow.
那过多的权利啊，其实对于学生来讲并不是一个很好的事情，所以我们学校啊有着非常严格的这样的一个校规和界限，然后让每一个学生都可以了解到什么是可以做的，什么是不可以做的。
And we see the rules as there being a difference between discipline and punishment. A punishment is just punitive, whereas our discipline policy is educational in nature. It involves open and direct communication between us and the student to allow for future development.
那我这里要解释的话呢，就是限制和惩罚也是不一样的。那我们其实会给到学生一个详细的一个交流，然后让他们有这个机会可以去规划一些他们自己力所能及的可以做的一些事情。
Our beaks are firm but caring, and they always put the welfare of all of the students first.
那我们的老师们也会尽量的去让学生，然后呢有一个很健康的一个这样的成长环境。
I hope I've been able to explain some of the reasons behind the rules that we have at school. So now I'm going to pass over to David Fitzgerald to talk about our co-curricular activities.
好，对于寄宿这一块我们就分享完毕了。然后现在的话呢，就交给到我们负责课外课程的 David 老师。
Hello, good evening. It's wonderful to be with you again this evening to speak to you about our co-curricular provision here at Harrow Appi.
然后那 David 老师下面就会为大家去介绍我们的课外拓展活动的一些安排。
We've had a wonderful week of activities and expeditions, and I'm going to summarise some 3 key points building on some of the questions that you asked from last week's webinar.
那也是根据上一次，然后家长们对于这个我们的课外拓展活动课程和超级课程的一些问题，我总结了3个比较重要的点，向大家分享。
So as you saw with our Lion's House imagery earlier, our short expeditions, our short X's have started. We had Lion's House go out last weekend. This weekend we have Agata, followed by Churchill and Masamune before the half-term break.
那大家看到了我们的里昂院舍上周是第一个出去短途探索的这样的一个院舍，那么紧接着这一周啊就是奥嘎塔院舍，然后呢接下来在我们的学期中假期之前，就是丘吉尔院舍和我们的正宗院舍。
It's an excellent program that's exciting, challenging, and developmental for the students. They undertake lots of activities in nature and stay overnight in the tents. But just a reminder that students will not have access to their devices when they are away from lunchtime on Saturday through to lunchtime on Sunday, but will be able to speak to you when they return. Also, in terms of the kits they require, is just their clothing and waterproofs. The school provides all tents, sleeping bags and sleeping mats, which is of an excellent quality and suitable to the conditions here at Appi Coden.
那学生们啊，在短途旅行的时候是不能使用他们的电子设备和产品的。那这一个时间啊，将会从周六的中午一直到第二天周日的中午，所以他们在返回的时候才能跟家长们联系。然后第二个就是在短途旅行的过程当中，这些设备的问题哈，学生啊只需要带着他们的一些随身的衣物和随身携带的一些物品啊。那关于这个探索露营需要到的这个帐篷啊，然后以及睡眠的这个隔水垫啊，都是学校给他们去准备的。
I also wanted to mention about our seasonal sign up for the after school activities, our co-curricular activities and our supercurricular activities. At present, the program is running extremely well with over 45 after school activities every day. As we go to the white season, at the end of November, the process will ensure that you, our parents, receive the activity program ahead of the student sign up, which will give you time to look at the program and discuss it with your child before your child then selects their activities. We will then share the activities your child is doing with you so you can see which activities they are undertaking for the new season.
在11月底的时候，我们就会迎接我们的白色季节，然后各位研讨会的家长可以放心，在白色季节开始之前，您会收到我们在白色季节所计划的这个课外拓展课程和超级课程的手册，然后我们将会给到您时间，根据这个手册与孩子们去探讨什么样的课程是他更想去学习的，然后呢，我可以给到这样的一个前期的一个选择的时间。
And lastly, in terms of our sports academies, at present, on Tuesday afternoons and Saturday mornings, our students are undertaking the rotation of activities that gives them the skills they need to make a success of their Appi education, which we call our Appi experience. The program is going very well, and you can see from last week's expedition that the students are acquiring the hiking, the navigation skills, the campcraft skills that they need to make a real success of their education here at Appi.
那么现在啊，就是谈到我们的这个体育学院，那其实现在啊，我们目前所有的课程都已经在正常的运转，有45种这个课外的课程，然后家长们其实可以看到，我们已经在每个星期二和周末的上午，然后我们的学生啊就已经开始在体验这个我们叫 Harrow Experience 哈罗体验类的活动的这个课堂当中了。
As we go through to the end of November and we change from the green season to the white season, our sports academies will change as well into skiing and snowboarding. We will ensure in the coming weeks we share with you a kit list of what the students will need for those snow sports academies. And thank you for your support in being so proactive in ensuring your students have everything they need for all of their activities here at Harrow Appi.
在我们的这个绿色季节 A 结束之后呢，我们就马上就会迎来这个白色季节。然后呢，我们也会在这个白色季节到来之前，向家长们去分享这个购买户外用品的适合冬季的户外用品的这个清单给到家长们。
It's a busy, broad and exciting programme we have on offer, and thank you for your support of the co-curricular provision. And I will now hand back to our headmaster, Mr. Farley, for the next slide.
感谢各位家长对于我们学校的这个支持。然后我们现在就把这个后面运营的环节交给我们的校长。
I will briefly pick up on 3 themes from the questions asked in last week's webinar.
我们的校长也是从上一周的这个研讨会的问题当中总结了3个点给大家。
I hope all parents by now are aware of our requirement for all students to have a break, as Miss Bartram has explained, in the coming October half-term holiday, so to leave the campus.
我相信在座的家长都已经收到了，就是关于我们舍监主任发布的，在我们的学期间休假，需要离开学校的一个安排。
That said, we are aware that for some families based in mainland China, the prospect of their child traveling to the mainland is a big challenge.
我们的来自中国区的一些学生他们在短假回中国呢还是有很大的挑战的，因为目前我们中国还没有取消这个隔离政策。
Miss Bartram circulated a questionnaire which we do require every family to respond to. By now, I think we've got almost complete response, but please, if you haven't responded, do so that every student from every house has provided information about their travel arrangements.
那我们已经向各位家长发送了这个邮件和调研表，然后呢，我们目前收到了大部分家长的回信了，然后也希望还没有去填写这个回复的家长呢，尽快去填写这个回复，然后让学校去了解你在学期间休假的一个旅程安排。
If you are a family based in the PRC and you envisage difficulty for your child getting home to you during this short 1-week holiday, please complete the survey. Let us know so that we can make arrangements with you that suit your child's welfare.
然后如果您是这个不能陪伴孩子就是离开校园的，然后呢，希望您尽快去填写这个我们的调研表，让学校知道你的安排，然后我们可以给学生做出更好的一个调整。
We now move on to the big theme of food. Many questions asked last week about this particular issue.
那第二个的话呢，就是关于饮食的问题了。那上周我们也收到了非常非常多的关于饮食的一个问题。
I want to make it plain again. We do accept that we have room for improvement in this area. I'm also pleased to say that we've been working very, very hard with the catering provider. I was with them for a long time today. And we are seeing improvement both in terms of food and service. But this is a journey we're still on as we work to improve the quality of the meals provided to the students.
那我们承认在饮食这一块，学校还是有很大的一个改善空间。那我们校长今天也一直在和我们的这个饮食提供方一直在合作，然后联系去看我们的一个改善情况。那校长说呢，我们现在的这个饮食供应商在菜品以及服务上面已经有做出了一些改善，然后我们未来还会持续的去进行努力，然后呢为逐步的去达到这个大部分学生和家长对于餐饮的一个要求
We thank you for your suggestions regarding improvements to food. The appropriate ones amongst your suggestions have been fed back to the kitchen, to the catering provider.
那我们家长啊，在这个研讨会上面也提了很多对于饮食改善的建议。那我们也把这些建议已经反馈给了我们的餐饮供应商，然后这些改善建议啊，也会逐步的去进行实施。
And we now have a functioning food committee. Students and members of the staff of Harrow Appi are now regularly feeding back their opinions to the kitchen.
那我们目前啊，就是有组织了两个小的团队，一个小的团队是我们的学生组织起来的，然后一个团队呢就是我们哈罗的教职员工，然后这两个团队啊，他们也在收集这个饮食的意见，然后去把他们这个意见啊反馈给我们的餐饮供应商。
And finally, before we hand over to the Q&A session, these devices, we're still doing lots of work with the students regarding their personal devices, their mobile phones, their smart watches. I do want to be clear, and Miss Bartram talked about this as well. We're now very, very clear about standardizing the practice in each house. There's fairness across all 4 houses now. The students do have their devices from 5 p.m. We expect responsibility, so no devices in the canteen, in the mess, devices in prep only to be used to support homework, and then the students do have a couple of hours in the evening to contact home or have some chill out time with their personal devices. Similarly, Sunday morning is a slightly more leisurely start to the day when the students will have their devices. So from 5 p.m. every day and Sunday morning. Sorry, Judy, perhaps if you could translate that first.
OK， 那对于这个学生个人设备，我们校长说到就是他的手机和电子手表。那我们现在的使用时间呢是每天的5点钟以后到睡觉之前，然后以及周日的上午。那在这个时间段哈，学生是可以使用手机跟家里面人联系的。那我们的食堂和我们的这个图书馆是不能使用手机的。然后同时啊，在做作业的时候学生只能用手机去查询一些跟作业相关的一些资料。这个呢就是学校对于这个电子产品设备的要求，而且这个要求是所有院舍都是统一的。
We have to say that some students have found these rules difficult. Some students moving from a situation where they've had unrestricted access to their devices, and particularly through the pandemic, have come to rely on them very, very heavily. However, we've been very grateful for you, the parents' support, as we've worked to rebalance the students. Yes, giving them time with their devices and in the virtual world, but also we're very determined to re-establish the skills of face-to-face communication, social interaction, and engagement with the real world, as well as the virtual world. So it's not been easy, but we really are finding that we're making progress, and thank you for your support.
那我们知道啊，就是在这个过去的几年，因为疫情的原因，很多学生可能他是会比较依赖这个电子产品和设备的。然后呢，学校现在我们也正在努力去找到这样的一个平衡。当然了，也会让学生们有一些时间去使用这个电子设备。但是我们希望啊，把这个学生从这个虚拟世界拉回现实，然后让他们有更多的这种面对面的社交啊，以及面对面的这样的更多的交流机会，而不是通过这种虚拟的网络世界。
Actually, Judy, I've just realized that the picture is very relevant. That was me playing dominoes in Lion's house in the evening. Instead of the students being on their devices, they're having a good social interaction with their colleague, with their peers and the headmaster. is a lovely example of what we're achieving in the school.
OK， 那其实我们这张 PPT 上面的照片啊，就是我们的校长在里昂院舍跟孩子们一起玩这个叫多米诺骨牌，然后大家其实可以看到这个呢，也是一个很好的例子，就是我们让学生不要去过多的去使用这个电子产品。不要去玩这个网络的游戏，然后我们在线下，学生和学生面对面，学生和老师面对面的这样去互动，这是一个很好的例子。
Lovely. Let's come out of the presentation now and go to the gallery of the Rogues Gallery. And I really appreciate, parents, how many of you are on this call. I think if we unshare the screen, Judy, really heartwarming to see so many parents involved in this evening's webinar. I'm also noting not so many questions. However, we do want to take the questions. I hand over to you, Judy, to manage them.
OK， 那我们的校长说很高兴今天，然后呢，我们也有非常多的家长参与到我们的研讨会。现在我们收到的问题还不多，然后我们呢可以先回答一部分。Okay, the first question. Is Chinese a compulsory curriculum for students from China? For example, Year 9 students, is it compulsory course for them to study? 就是这个家长问说，中文是不是一个必修课程？如果学生是来自中国的，那么他一定要学中文吗
？Yes, we made the decision that for Japanese native speakers, Japanese literature class is compulsory in years 7, 8, and 9, and for Chinese native speakers, Chinese literature class is compulsory in years 7, 8, and 9. It becomes optional once they go into year 10, but for those first 3 years, it is compulsory.
那对于中文课程，然后来自中国的同学，7年级到9年级这3年都是一个必修课程。然后呢，中文课程在10年级的时候就会变成可选择的。所以这个是关于 Sorry.
So the Harrow education is a holistic one. So we care very much about STEAM. We care very much about learning in nature and the great outdoors. But we care very much about the humanities and the arts. And we think it's important as part of a holistic education that a pupil, as they become teenagers, are appreciating literature in their native language as part of their education.
那大家知道哈，咱们学校是一个全人教育的学校。那我们哈罗安比的话呢，除了注重这个户外体育类的课程以外，其实我们还很注重科学呀，然后人文啊、艺术类的这些课程，然后让学生们他去必修这个语言类的一些课程呢，其实对于他们的一个课程的补充，其实是很有必要的。所以这个也是为什么我们设置7到9年级中文课程是一个必修课程的原因。OK， 这个学生问是否可以在周末抽2个小时的时间进行学校課程之外的線上藝術學習，因為學生以後希望走藝術路線。Okay, so if students have free time slots during weekends, can they, take online class by tutors outside of our school?
Shall I take this? Oh, sorry, Nicola.
Yeah, so a lot of our students use time in the boarding house over the weekends at the moment with online tutors or further study. So it's definitely possible. It's something to arrange with the students' HM so that you know when the free time might be, because obviously at the weekends we've still got academy time. We do have activities generally on the afternoons of Saturday and Sunday, but the evenings are a lot more free.
那我们的 Nicola 老师建议这位家长呢，您可以跟社监去确定一下您孩子的他的一个时间表，然后呢，因为我们在周末啊，其实学校也有很多这个课外课程啊，包括我们的学院的这个哈罗体验的活动安排，然后呢，您上线上课程是没有问题的。然后这个时间呢，可能像李库尔老师说的大约在晚上的时候，可能这个时间会安排起来会更容易一些。当然，其他的时间的话呢，您可能需要去跟社监去进一步确定，然后再去上这个线上课程。Okay. We received the question. Oh, first is about vaccination. So how would school arrange this? 就是这个问题是关于疫苗的。问我们学校是怎么样去安排这个疫苗。
I'll take that one. We're very fortunate to have strong support from the local authorities. So we're talking to the authorities at the moment about the latest vaccination cycle. So that's vaccinations both for COVID-19 and also for seasonal influenza. So we can't firmly say it will happen in our medical centre on the campus, but we can say that any families who would like to have their child vaccinated, the school will be arranging it.
那首先的话，这个疫苗的话呢，学校是可以安排新冠疫苗和流感季节性的流感疫苗。然后，如果您有这方面的需求的话呢，就我们校长说，这个应该不会是在学校的一个集体行为哈，就是在我们的医疗中心的一个集体接种行为。这个您如果有这方面的要求，就是想法，然后你可以联系你的社监，然后看一下我们的这个疫苗接种怎么安排。Second, about housemaster contact. The school keeps saying housemaster is single contact. How if housemaster doesn't reply the email or message? We understand housemaster is very busy and find housemaster could not be able to reply the email quickly. 就是这个家长说到，就是我们学校说哈，这个社监老师是目前家长的唯一的沟通渠道，但是有的时候啊，他发现这个我们的社监老师没有快速的回复这个问题。Well, that's true because some housemaster they did reply the email, not that quickly, maybe after 2 days or over 24 hours.
I do hope that's not the case. I do hope that's not the case. Let me quickly jump in. So first of all, we do have our premium promise that as per the parents' guide, all emails will be responded to within 24 hours. So certainly if there's a case of that not happening, please let me know. But that's the first thing to say. Our premium promise is for a response, not within 2 hours, but within 24 hours.
OK， 那我们校长说啊，就是我们对于社监老师回复邮件的要求，就是在24小时之内要回复这个邮件。然后，如果您在24小时之内还没有收到这个社监的回复的话呢，你可以inform Nicola and our.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go on to, Jane. So in the parental guide are the emails of all the senior managers. For the HMs, Nicola is probably the best person to go to. So Ms. Bartram is the line manager of the HMs.
是的，是的，就是如果您没有在24小时之内收到这个社监的邮件反馈的话呢，你可以把这个邮件转发给我们的 Nicola 老师，然后在我们的家长门户网站上面的 就是家长手册上面，其实我们是有放所有人的联系方式的。但是如果您现在还不知道就是怎么联系，邮箱是什么，然后你可以在线下给我们的 admission 留言哈，我们来告诉你这个去联系谁。Okay, and the third question, language learning. Per the checking before, the students are able to learn English or Chinese and Japanese at the same time. Not either two, but now it seems the third language can only be offered in the super curriculum. This is not the communication we received before. 那这位家长是说关于这个语言的学习。那我们之前啊，其实是跟家长说，这个英语啊、中文啊、日文可以同一时间学习。然后，但是现在呢，这3个语言，第3门语言是在我们的超级课程里面的。那这个跟我们之前的不一样。
Sorry, Judy. Sorry, Judy. I know this is an academic question, Mr. Newman, but I will jump in because I've obviously been involved in describing the school's offer for so many months and to so many of the parents on the call. I very rarely do this, but I have to say that is what was described, exactly what was described, was that there would be, of course, the English provision within the curriculum, English language and English as the language of instruction for the other subjects, and then a lot of time for another language within the curriculum, and then the third language super curriculum. So maybe there has been some slight misunderstanding, but I do have to say that was always what was described. And we're very pleased to offer it in that way. It's an effective way of providing the third language, and it's always what had been described. And because I remember very often saying, and of course we can do that, but something has to give. So if another language is to be pursued in the super curricular slot, then some other pursuit cannot be picked up on. Sorry, I've got a bit clumsy towards the end there, but I'm very, very, very certain that that's what was described. Maybe a slight misunderstanding.
OK， 那其实这个可能是之前啊有一些沟通的误会。那我们的话确实是这3个语言是可以同时学习的，但是第3个语言是在我们的超级课程当中，然后另外2门语言的话就是在我们的语言课程的学习当中哈。然后其实如果说您想要去选择学习的话呢，也是the students could choose three languages to study together.
Yes. So we've always said that is the case. The one language, of course, let's put English to one side. So the one Asian language studied then within the core curriculum, and then if an additional language was selected to be studied, so that could be for a Chinese family, Chinese, Mandarin within the curriculum, and perhaps Japanese additionally, or perhaps French additionally. That would be within the enrichment slot, that would be within the super curriculum slot, rather than some of the other activities like debate club or coding club, for example.
那所以其实就是学生他是可以去学习3种的这个语言。对于一个中国人家庭来说的话，就是我们英文的话肯定是这个 EL 课程安排的，然后呢这个中文啊，然后日文啊，它是可以这个就是学习，然后以及它也可以去学习比如说我们现在在超级课程里面提供的，我没有记错的话，应该是这个休闲西班牙语哈，它也是可以学习的。Okay, can school choose or? Oh, okay. This question I think we've already answered during the webinar, the first webinar. Can school share the CCA and SCA license that kids choose or chosen? Let me answer directly in Chinese because I know this answer. 就是现在关于季节 A 的这个 CCA 和 SCA 的选择的话呢，我们已经在家长门户上网站去公布了。然后刚刚在研讨会上面 David 老师说，关于我们的 White Season 的 SCA 和 CCA 呢，我们会提前去提供这个brochure 给到你，也就是我们的这个选课手册给到你，然后你可以跟孩子们 就跟您的孩子去探讨在白色季节的这个 SCA 和 CCA 的选择。Does the school allow to play video game？ 就学校会允许学生们去打这个电子游戏吗？
Nicola?
Yes, so the students do have downtime when they're allowed to be on their devices and have more free control, but the time they're allowed on them is monitored. So each evening they only have, and this is the same with phones, 45 minutes to be on their phones and devices to play games. Now, what I would suggest is during the October holiday, is to put some restrictions on your child's device to prevent what games they can download. We have some filters on our internet system which stop them being on games which are inappropriate, and actually we're putting stricter locks on those so they won't be able to access any online games very shortly. But I would suggest that over the break you have a look at anything they might be able to download and put some parental restrictions on.
Now, I think, Fraser, of the four of us left on the call, you're the Chinese speaker, so we'll hand over to you.
I was just volunteering.
好
像现在我要说一点中文，好像没有主题，所以主题回来了。
Oh, sorry, my
你好
Fraser.
sorry, my computer
Well
just
done.
suddenly closed down. I don't know why.
Well, good to have you back, Judy, but actually we don't need you anymore because Fraser has just taken over your job.
Okay, sorry.
In a very rusty way, Judy. I think we do need you.
Okay, and now it's I think it's China time 8:30 p.m.
It is, Judy, but welcome back. And maybe just a very quick interpretation of the important message that Nicola just gave with regards families using the time over half term to just get students' devices organised so that they're very clear about what gaming is loaded onto those devices before they come back to school. Do you want to say anything else, Nicola? Is that a good summary?
I think that's a good summary, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Could you just translate that into Chinese, please,
Oh,
Judy?
Sorry. 就是关于学生啊，他那个打游戏的这个问题，我们其实是把这个，因为学生他是会用那个电子产品去打游戏的嘛，就他的手机啊，或者是说他的 iPad。那我们在合理的时间范围内去控制学生的这个电子产品设备的使用，在我们控制的这个时间段，他肯定是不可能去接触到他这个游戏设备的。但是呢，在我们的这个可以给到他设备的这个时间，比如说在每天的这个5点到这个睡觉到9点啊之前。然后以及周日的上午，那这个时间段其实他都是可以和他的院舍的小伙伴们去玩一些比较有意义的这个电子游戏。
You see, Judy, I have to say Fraser was much quicker than you.
Fraser's Chinese is better than me, actually.
Now,
nobody believes that.
Yeah.
Judy, we are at the end of our time. I do want to just express to parents our appreciation. They've given up so much of their Friday evening. I'm very impressed with the number of parents still with us. We will make sure that we review all questions that weren't answered this evening. We'll add them to the questions that were asked yesterday evening, and we'll upload onto the parent portal our responses.
好的，各位家长，非常感谢大家，就是一直都在线，然后跟着我们的这个研讨会。那我们虽然说在研讨会上面没办法去回答到全部的问题，但是我们在研讨会之后呢，我们会把这所有问题都导出来，会总结起来，然后会继续去上传到我们的家长门户网站哈。
I also want to really express my appreciation to my colleagues for joining, not just this evening, but last week as well. I hope parents, you get the impression of a very professional, very dedicated, very good-humoured team we have in Harrow Appi. You won't see them next week because I'm giving them Friday night off. They're working far too hard at the moment. I'll join the webinar this time next week.
我们在下周的这个时间还会再准备第3次的研讨会议，然后但是的话呢，你们就不会再看到 Fraser 啊、Nicola 和 David 了，因为我们的校长想给他们放松一下，因为他们的工作真的非常的努力。然后在下周这个同一时间啊，就是还是我们校长自己来为大家去做这个第3次的这个研讨会议。
So we really encourage parents to keep the questions coming, obviously particularly to their HMs, but to any of us. In the 3rd webinar next week, I'll be focusing on how we will be establishing efficient parent communication through e-communication, our regular newsletters, monthly and termly, our Facebook and communications, and our regular parent meetings. Also the parent education sessions, the parent workshops, let's call them the parent workshops that we'll be launching, that we hope will be very useful to parents in their developing an understanding of Harrow education. And finally, the establishment of our Friends of Harrow, if you like, our PTA, which will be getting up and running later in the year.
那我们在今年年尾啊，就是结束之前，应该是会把这个家委会的这个事项提上日程的。然后呢，对于与家长之间的这个家校沟通，然后学校啊也有很多的这个未来会发布的，比如说我们的家长的沙龙，然后我们的Facebook。然后我们的更多的这个教职员工的联系方式，然后你有任何问题啊，都可以跟我们的社监以及就我们今天研讨会的校长啊，然后我们的社监主任呐，我们的这个课外课程的负责人啊，然后和我们的副校长啊，其实都可以去联系他们的。然后我们在上一次的 webinar 也说了，就是您那个不用担心语言的问题，您是讲中文的话，就直接发中文邮件就可以了。我们这边其实是有很好的这种翻译软件，我们可以自己翻译的。然后自己翻译的话，我们就是会回给您，然后您也可以放到那个翻译器上面去进行翻译，看一下老师都是怎么回复的。就是这些沟通上面的问题的，就我们都是持续去欢迎您随时去提问的。
Judy, thank you for all your hard work this evening. You started in your apartment in Shenzhen, but you've ended up in a beautiful sunny meadow in Somerset.
Okay.
Or David's home county of Devon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all your supports of the webinar.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining, parents. Good luck to Agata House for their camping tomorrow evening, because it is raining fairly hard now this evening, but we think it's going to clear up tomorrow morning. Parents, thank you so much for joining. Do stay in touch. Do keep your questions coming. I'll speak to you next week. Thank you for joining.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
最后一次感谢就各位家长参与哈，然后那个现在那个外面下雨了，然后我们希望明天参与院舍短途探索的这个 Ogata House 啊，就是可以幸运的去探索，希望雨明天早上就可以停哈。然后那我们就欢迎家长们持续再提问题，然后我们有更多的这种线上的互动然后各位家长晚安。